If you make great money and still feel financially tight, this isn't about spending or lifestyle. It's about structure. Back when I was working a job and making about $300,000 a year, I thought I finally made it. By every external measure, I had, but internally, I felt tight, constrained, and uneasy about how fragile everything still felt. This is past tense for me now, but the lesson stayed. And if you're making good money and quietly wondering why it still feels heavy, this will make sense. Let's start with reality. In the United States in 2025, an individual earning $300,000 a year is roughly in the top 2 to 3% of earners. That means that out of 100 working adults, 97 or 98 earns less. So this isn't a middle class problem, and it's definitely not an effort problem. By the numbers, I was doing better than almost everyone. So why did it still feel like I couldn't breathe? I wasn't reckless, I wasn't drowning in luxury, I was filing single, no dependents, no exotic lifestyle, and yet every month felt like there was a clock running. Not panic, just pressure. That constant sense that I couldn't slow down, I couldn't step away, couldn't stop. That was the first clue. I didn't feel broke because I lacked money, I felt broke because I lacked control. As income went up, hours quietly follow. Not officially, but culturally. More responsibility, more availability, more expectations to always be reachable. This is the part that people don't say out loud. Jobs don't pay for outcome. They pay for access. Access to your time, access to your attention, access to your energy. At $300,000, you're not being paid to work harder. You're being paid to stay available. And once I saw that, things clicked. Now let's layer in the math. At that income, filing single in 2025, that's 35% at the top federal marginal rate. Additional Medicare taxes on wages stayed around 5% or so. All in, each additional dollar that I earned was losing over 40% immediately. Before I spent it, before I saved it, before I make any good decision, let's make that real. On $300,000 salary, over $120,000 was structurally committed to taxes. That's not a lifestyle inflation, that's exposure, and no amount of budgeting can fix structural exposure. This is where conventional advice breaks. Just save more, just invest, just tighten up. At high income, you're not dealing with a math shortage, you're dealing with rigidity. Money hits when the employers say it hits. It's classified how the system says it's classified, and it's taxed before you even touch it. You don't choose timing. You don't choose the treatment, you just absorb it. That's not weakness, that's structured. So I did exactly what high income employees are told to do. I maxed out the 401k, about $23,000 or so. Helpful, but that protects less than 8% of $300,000. I use a HSA, roughly another $4,000 for single. One of the best available tools, but still capped. I ran a FSA, another $3,200. Strict rules, use it or lose it. Add them all up, even optimized, I could only shelter about $30,000 pre-tax. That still leaves $270,000 fully exposed to top rates. These tools slows the bleeding. They do not change the picture, and they definitely don't give you back time. This was a turning point. Even doing everything right, I was still trading long hours for income that was heavily taxed, rigidly structured, completely depending on staying employed. And that's when it hit me. Money wasn't the problem anymore. Time was. High income without control doesn't feel rich. It feels rented. Here's what surprised me the most. Working with earners at $500,000, $700,000, even $1 million plus on W-2 income, the problem doesn't disappear. It intensifies. Same structure, same limitations, bigger numbers, same bottleneck. The ceiling moves up, but it's still ceiling. This is where business entered the picture for me. Not a fantasy, not a slogan, as a structural shift. Running a business didn't magically remove taxes. It changed how income behaved. Jobs pay for hours, business pay for outcome. Jobs fix timing, business allow planning. Jobs expenses life after tax, business often expense operations before tax. Same dollar, different physics. Owning a business introduced 3 levers that I simply did not have access to as an employee. First lever is the income timing, when money hits and how it's recognized. The second one is expense alignment, whether costs reduce income before or after tax. The third one is ownership leverage, earning ties to asset, not hours. I break each of these down in future videos, not as hacks, as mechanics. I'm not saying that everyone needs to quit their job. I'm saying that if you're earning well and still feel boxed in, it's not because you fell, it's because the structure capped you. This is past tense for me now, but the lesson stayed. More money from a job didn't create freedom. Understanding the levers did. Income is impressive. Control is dangerous in a good way.